Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening. 26 days out from the final furnace powering down at Liberty Bell Bay, a solution to the plant's troubles doesn't seem any closer. The state and federal governments tonight both calling on the company to come clean about the true nature of its financial problems.
The dust is a long way from settling on Liberty's decision to put production on hiatus at Bell Bay, and while questions continue to pile up, answers aren't forthcoming.
It is not possible to explain what has occurred here on the basis of the facts that have been provided.
A week into the job, the new Resources Minister is tasked with finding a solution with hundreds of jobs on the line.
There is not a clear pathway here to the resumption of production. This is a facility that has enjoyed the support of successive Tasmanian governments, successive Commonwealth governments, and a community that's pitched in year after year to support this business.
The company blames its woes on a supply issue with the manganese ore it processes, but the product has just started flowing again out of the major Australian supplier on Groote Island after cyclone damage last year.
What we're actually starting to understand is even if they could access a shipment of ore into the site, can they pay for it? And I think that stands at the feet of the ownership and of the Gupta Group.
It's understood there may be issues finding shipping companies willing to transport the small amounts of ore Liberty is willing to buy, while 2 other Liberty smelters in the United Kingdom are tonight also on the brink of collapse over unpaid debts.
Liberty has stated that this is in regards to global supply issues. The federal government has stepped up and saved South Australia. We are asking for them now to step up and save Tasmania.
The best outcome here is a commercial outcome where the firm steps up, sources manganese ore and continues to support their customers.
A low-interest loan to help the plant secure the ore it needs to start up again is touted as one possible solution. Local costs, including energy, as one of Tasmania's 4 major industrial customers, also bite.
The price that the Liberty Bell Bay sells for is a global price. Those businesses will see a 25% increase in transmission alone. None of that can get passed on, so they have to absorb that.
While employees without large leave balances face absorbing costs of their own during the shutdown. Nick Kelly, 7 Tasmania News.
2 of the country's biggest sporting codes could be set to lock horns over the Macquarie Point Stadium as the roof continues to be a major sticking point. Cricket Australia raising concerns in its submission to the Tasmanian Planning Commission as industry heavy hitters launch a staunch defence of the development.
As the state government looks to play on with the proposed Macquarie Point Stadium, Cricket Australia is again hitting back, this time in their Planning Commission submission with Cricket Tasmania, saying current mitigation options for shadows being cast on the field by the roof are unworkable, potentially placing the project's cost-benefit analysis into doubt. And with the AFL making a roof mandatory, the 2 sporting codes could be on a collision course, though the Greens are taking issue with the Hobart Stadium as a whole.
The train's left the station, the Tasmanian people and our team are on board, and we're not going to have a stadium with us. That's what Tasmanians have said.
Publicly releasing their letter to the league's head honcho, calling on Andrew Dillon to dump the development as a necessity for the Devils to compete in the competition.
Other parts of the deal that Jeremy Rockcliffe signed have already been waived and changed. So we know that there's room to move.
Concerns the project doesn't stack up are growing, damning polling yesterday showing the government's losing the support of voters because of it.
All deals could be renegotiated, and it's clear that this deal's not working.
But the Premier's standing defiant, taking to social media saying leadership isn't driven by opinion polls, vowing to fight on. The government saying it continues to engage with Cricket Australia and Tasmania as the design for the stadium progresses.
If we are ever going to have an AFL team, the time is now. There's never going to be a better time to build a stadium than now, and so that is why we're staying the course.
As tourism and hospitality leaders launch a staunch defence for the development.
We truly believe infrastructure of this type can be transformational for the future of our visitor economy.
Confident it would also sizzle up the state over winter.
I think you could probably pretty much say to be dark mofo on steroids for the hospitality industry.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Two pedestrians have been hit in separate incidents in the past 24 hours. The latest this afternoon when one was struck by a car in central Burnie and taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Last night, a 12-year-old girl received critical injuries and was taken to the Royal Hobart after being struck by a car on the East Derwent Highway in Bridgewater just after 6 p.m. The driver, a 30-year-old woman from Brighton.
She stopped at the scene and contacted emergency services straight away. She was obviously quite distressed by what has occurred, and she's been assisting with our investigation moving forward.
A police investigation into that incident is underway. No charges have been laid. There have been 18 incidents involving pedestrians so far this year. 3 have been fatal. Community basketball clubs are urging the state government to level the playing field when it comes to grassroots sporting infrastructure. As Tasmania faces a critical shortage of indoor facilities and participation booming, teams are scrambling for space to grow.
Tasmania is in the midst of a basketball court crisis, with demand far outpacing supply. The shortfall of 31 courts expected to blow out to 40 within a decade.
Some of the facilities we play in are frankly embarrassing. We have coin-operated light systems in parts of Tasmania.
Community sporting groups calling for the state government to contribute 50% or $12.5 million to transform this spot into a 4-court basketball facility.
There is not one single indoor community court in the Hobart local government area, and that's just not right.
If approved, the build would take 18 months, a lifeline for grassroots clubs already under pressure.
We're already getting to the point where we're going to have to start turning kids away from the sport.
I think at the moment we're playing games, you know, Sorrel, Kingston and at a netball centre. It's actually way past the critical stage, like it's a crisis.
Independent MLC Beck Thomas says the recent cost blowout in the Devils High Performance Centre only adds salt to the wound.
It's time the government showed our local clubs and our local kids that they matter just as much as the big guns.
We've already committed $100 million for more courts around Tasmania, including $28 million for 4 courts in Glenorchy.
And despite next week's budget papers already being drawn up,
the government can rearrange budgets, can find money for things when it wants to.
Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmania News.
As we head into winter, ready to face unique driving conditions, deaths from motorbike crashes on Tasmanian roads are already higher than last year's total. Police today issuing a warning for all road users, but particularly for those on 2 wheels.
Petrol leaking from a punctured fuel tank and broken plastic scattered over the road. The all too familiar aftermath of a high-impact motorcycle crash. Deaths involving motorbikes on Tasmanian roads so far this year already surpassing last year's total.
In that same time, 35 people have already received serious injuries from crashes as a direct result of being on a motorbike. This is unacceptable.
Fatalities including a 48-year-old man who was killed after colliding with a car on the Brooker Highway, and a teenage boy who'd been riding pillion on his friend's bike when they crashed at Austin's Ferry. He hadn't been wearing a helmet. Police now renewing pleas for caution as we head into the chilly season.
You do need to adjust your driving behaviour to get there safely.
Confronting the challenges presented by winter roads.
Where it can be foggy, where there is black ice on the road, things that you can't see.
And how the different conditions interact with vehicles of 2 wheels.
Particularly when you've got a pillion passenger on the back, their life is literally in your hands.
Police promising an uptick in high visibility and covert patrols, as well as static operations to keep road users safe.
The community can expect to see police motorbikes in and around Tasmanian roads across the winter season.
Also a reminder for drivers to keep in mind the unique vulnerabilities of motorbike users.
Give them more space between those vehicles so they're not driving too closely.
And a warning for motorcyclists to never overestimate the capabilities of themselves or their vehicles.
Because you never know what might be around that corner.
Tom Crosby, 7 Tasmania News.
A project to transform sewerage infrastructure and protect the environment has reached an important milestone. The state government says work at the Tea Tree Bend sewage treatment plant in the state's north is now half complete and under budget.
The final piece of upgrading work at the Tea Tree Bend sewage treatment plant project is nearing completion. 5 years and $129 million in the making, the Tamar Estuary River Health Action Plan will eventually mean less waste material and stormwater runoff making its way into the river system.
We're expecting a 60% drop in overflows each year into the Cunnamalooka, and we're also expecting, through modelling, a 70% reduction in nutrients that enter the waterway each year.
This won't just have a great effect on the Tamar Estuary, it will also be enormous for the future of Launceston.
Over the next few months, the concrete roof will go on the 10 megalitre storage tank, which began construction earlier this year, and works are well advanced on the new pump station.
Extra 10,000 homes will have the capability of feeding into this system, as well as Lagana, Prospect and other sewage treatment plants as they are shut down and directed this way.
The project will also have positive spin-offs for the Launceston Sewer Transformation Strategy, making increased recycled water available to the agricultural and industrial sectors.
When you look at the whole project, it is absolutely staggering what's been involved.
When completed, TasWater will be able to rationalise 7 ageing sewage treatment plants across the region into the one modern facility. Construction on the storage tank is due to be completed by the middle of next year. Matthew Watson, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's youngest readers have joined over 1 million others across the country, turning pages in the 25th National Simultaneous Storytime. This year's book is set around themes of migration, belonging and kindness.
A tale of connection and belonging, capturing the minds and hearts of our smallest bookworms.
And he would hum tunes from his home country, or tell Tinker about the food his Nina used to make.
Tinker the cat and a migrant truck driver travelling roads wide and narrow, near and distant, learning the landscape of a new country. Australian children's book The Truck Cat, the star of this year's Simultaneous Storytime. Tasmanian schools and libraries among many turning the page for the event's 25th edition.
Thousands of Tasmanian students are joining over 1 million kids right across Australia in 9,000 different locations.
Exploring age-appropriate themes and addressing key learning foundations. This year's book shining a light on immigration, identity and kindness.
Important for people to understand that identity is fluid and plural. There's not one fixed sense of identity, and Australia is a multicultural society, and we all have, different identities and move through different stages of identity, which I think we see in the story.
Keeping young readers hooked.
Think about what's going to happen on the next page.
The annual event aiming to boost reading confidence and help foster a love and importance of books.
We want them to love reading. We want them to be absorbed in the stories that they hear.
It's pretty fun and it helps you a lot.
As well as improve literacy skills among young Tasmanians.
Put your hand up if you love to read. See the rates of literacy right across Tasmania rise, and that starts with our schools and it starts with our children.
Rebecca Gaidanero, 7 Tasmania.
Despite a recent stroke of bad luck in the SFL, Lauderdale's women's team want to put more points on the board in their bottom of the table clash against the Pies. The Bombers say they're focused. Their focus is to avoid any patchy quarters.
One win apiece. I think it'll be a really physical, competitive game, and it'll just be about who shows up for the full 4 quarters and who, sticks out and has the intensity for the full game.
Over in the men's, Kingborough want to turn their lacklustre season around. The Tigers coach is confident a premiership title isn't out of reach yet.
We'd like to be higher on the ladder at the moment, but at the end of the day, we've still a lot of footy to go. So you only have to get in there and then see what you can do to play your best footy at the right end of the year.
The Tigers play Brighton on Saturday. The Hobart Chargers and the Launceston Tawns are hoping to keep their momentum alive after both teams secured a win over the weekend. Chargers coach Dwayne Davey says crowd numbers helped boost player confidence and that he's happy with their form despite where they're sitting on the ladder.
That whilst we've had some disappointing results, we're actually pretty close to being where we want to be. Just a couple of balls bouncing a different way might have changed things.
While the Tawns are still riding the high of getting their first win.
Yeah, it was great. Look, we finally strung 4 quarters together and we had a full team.
Attention now turns to this weekend's game against Ringwood, with the team repping pink to support those with breast cancer. At more than 2 metres tall, the Jack Jumpers are expecting new recruit Kobe Williamson to make a big impact when he hits the court here later this year. The Australian export has been playing college basketball in Seattle, averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds a game. Signing the 23-year-old to a 2-year deal, the Jackies like his physical playing style, saying he'll add plenty of depth to their rotation.
Good evening. Hobart and Devonport, both 14 degrees today, 16 in Launceston and 15 in Burnie. A mild 18 degrees in St Helens, 17 on King Island, Flinders Island, Smithton, Lochhead, Grove and Strawn all 16. Friendly Beaches, Bushy Park and Lyowini warm to 15, but in saying that, it was -7 in Lyowini overnight. Cloudy conditions sat over parts of Bass Strait and the west of Tasmania today. The majority of the state remained mostly cloud-free. Extensive areas of cloud is seen here about the coast of New South Wales as scattered cloud pushed towards the Bight. Tomorrow a trough will shift towards the east of Tasmania, while a high sits over the eastern Tasman Sea and to the northwest of the state. North-northwesterly winds 10 to 20 knots across most waters, west-southwesterly swells increasing to 4 metres in the south. Frost just keep coming tomorrow. The warning exists for many parts of the state. A reminder to please drive safely on our icy roads. Another fine day in Hobart tomorrow, 16, Cygnet 17 with some partly cloudy skies, 16 in New Norfolk after a morning frost. Another cold night in the north, bringing frost once again, Launceston 16, 15 for both Devonport and Campbelltown. A sunny day in Burnie, 16, showery across Strawn 15, an icy start followed by some sunshine in Smithton with 16 there. 17 in St Helens, Swansea and Fingal after another cool morning. Forecast for Friday, light showers developing about the north, increasing and extending along the east coast. Possible late showers elsewhere. Morning showers on Saturday, but more frequent about the north and east throughout the day, extending to the west in the evening. And on Sunday, showers about the west and north, tending to rain in the evening. However, mainly fine elsewhere. Here's what's happening on the mainland tomorrow. Some rain on the way in Canberra and Sydney, 19 and fine in Adelaide. Partly cloudy in Melbourne with 19 expected. Clear across the state, 9 in Hobart, 7 in Launceston and 6 in Devonport. It certainly might pay to rug up tonight, Kim.
You are right there. Thanks very much, Claire. And that is all we have time for tonight. Enjoy your evening and we'll see you again tomorrow night from 6 p.m. Good night, everyone.